I absolutely think anyone can do this. And if I can do it, and I've been producing digital content for more than a decade, absolutely anyone can do it.
So if you want, you can do it, but you need to be brave too.
Yes, or as they sometimes say, do it while you're scared. I mean, there's Ruth Sukup. She's one of my favorite bloggers that I read, and she wrote this awesome book called Do It Scared. And it's all about, like, even if you're scared, do it anyway, because it won't change whether or not you're scared to do it, but it will change the impact you have if you actually try. Because you'll wake up one day more scared that you didn't try it. So you might as well just try it.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing right now.
See, Jenny, you got this one, girl.
Okay.
Girls, Geek Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls and we fucking rock. Geek Girls MX. Bunch of girls. Geek Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls. Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls and we fucking rock.
Hola geeks, ¿cómo están? Este es un episodio más de Ggpodcast, un proyecto de Geek Girls MX. Geek Girls MX es una comunidad creada por mujeres para mujeres que buscan hacer de su sueño un proyecto de vida, ayudadas por la tecnología. Yo soy Yani, hoy me acompaña Vero, y bueno, hoy nos acompaña, está con nosotros Ashley Grant, y esa es la razón por la cual este episodio es especial. Este será nuestro primer episodio en inglés. Por favor, sean pacientes y bueno, vamos a dejar a Vero que presente a nuestra invitada como se debe. Let's begin.
Hola, bueno, antes de traducir este podcast, les comento que vamos a dejar los subtítulos en español en la versión de YouTube, entonces es una buena manera de practicar inglés, escúchenlo en Spotify y luego ya que digan, bueno, vamos a ver si efectivamente entendí lo que dijeron, pues ya se pueden ir a YouTube y van a leer los subtítulos, ¿va? Y bueno, entonces nos pasamos a inglés. So, today we're happy to have with us Ashley Grant. She is a content producer at RSS. For those of who haven't heard about RSS, it's a podcast hosting service, that makes it easy for podcasters to publish and schedule episodes.
Right. So we are going to start. Thank you for being here, Ashley. I would like to start this episode with a little more information about who Ashley is. Where are you from? And if you can share with us some of your passions, will be great.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, by the way, both of you, for having me. I'm really excited to be here. So a little bit about me is I was a journalism major in college. I went to University of South Florida in Tampa, Florida. And so I started my career working for newspapers and magazines. And then in 2014, creating content for businesses and their websites, it sort of just landed in my lap. A series of events led to that. And I started writing for a bunch of travel agents, and that led to one client and to another. And fast forward to 2019, and I was sent to the Podcast Movement Conference, and they wanted to, the company that I was working for at the time, they wanted me to write about podcasting. And so in 2020, that particular story that I was working on got on RSS.com podcasting's radar, the hosting service. And they asked me if I would be interested in doing an article for them. And of course I said yes. And before I knew it, I was helping them create blog content and YouTube videos. And many of those YouTube videos actually became podcast episodes. And I even launched my own podcast. I didn't actually tell you guys this before. I don't know if you're familiar with April Fools.
Yes.
Okay, so I launched it on April Fool's Day in case it was awful, in case it was bad, so that I could say it was a joke if no one liked it. So yeah, I started it on April Fool's, and but ever since I started working with RSS, I just love writing for them so much and working with them.
That's amazing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a true story too. If you go back and look, it says
it's
April
a funny
1st.
and true story.
Yes, true story.
Yeah, especially because you thought about everything. Like, who does that? Okay,
Yeah.
I'll do it on April Fool's Day.
Yes, exactly. Well, it was right in the middle of the very beginning of the global pandemic, and everybody was stuck at home, and so I was like, well, if I'm gonna do it, I better do it now. And then I was like, well, why don't I just wait till April Fool's Day? That way, if it's horrible, I'll just be like, just kidding.
Yeah, here goes a good one.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, you said that you made the videos for YouTube. Do you actually edit them as well, or is it just like the planning of the videos?
Well, actually, so far I've been doing like the voiceovers for them and then editing them. Yes, I work a little bit with my husband sometimes, and he helps me edit them and make sure that they are done correctly. Because though I'm good at talking and writing, sometimes I'm not as good with like the logical stuff. So he helps with making it a little bit better than it would have been. So it's been really cool. He's an awesome team member.
That's cool. So I totally get that. When you talk about generating content and how you love writing and this, I was thinking that whenever I have gotten to write something for my own blog, I love to think that it's going to be useful for someone else.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think blogs and podcasts can actually shift minds?
Yes. I mean, absolutely. Yes. I think that podcasts and blog posts, they can definitely shift minds. It's the sharing of our words and our ideas that can teach people something completely new. And sometimes we can stumble upon a blog post or a podcast episode and we learn something that we never would have thought of. Like we'll be exposed to a perspective that just would never have been in our mind before. It's a new perspective that we wouldn't have previously had. And so I absolutely think that, if you stumble onto a podcast, like for instance, yours, I didn't even know it existed a month ago. And so now, like, if I start to listen, I might find something, well, first of all, I might learn Spanish, but it might introduce me to something that I didn't even know was in the world. And so I think that being able to see something or hear something that we've not heard before, yeah, it can totally shift minds.
Plus, you can't actually debate any idea. So it's just you listening to somebody else and not putting yourself into that position where, no, I have to share my point of view. So you have to listen. So it's a good way to practice listening, right?
It's an important part to listen to. So
yeah, one of the co-founders of RSS, he says, when you're podcasting, that's the one time you're completely in your audience's ears. That's the one time that they really only have you to listen to, and so you can move them in a way that no other medium has. Because a blog post, you can click away. You can just completely close it. But a podcast, there's something about it. Like maybe you're grocery shopping or you're working out, but when you're listening to a podcast, it's almost a more emotional experience, in my opinion. So yeah, I think podcasting is just the coolest thing ever.
Yes, totally.
So well, we know you love creating digital content. So why creating digital content is so important to you? And I mean in a personal level.
For me, creating digital content is important because it's taking a blank page and turning it into art. Like I'm the Michelangelo, if you will. Like I know I should never compare myself to Michelangelo, but when you have a blank canvas, you have something blank that you can turn into something. And so I love blogging and podcasting for that very reason. We're giving a voice to everyone. And with digital content, the producer, they can explore things that excite them, the things that they want the world to hear about. Like you said, you get to get your entire piece out. You get to be the one that's completely saying everything that you're thinking. And so we can share ideas, we can share the things that make us laugh, the things that make us cry, the things that inspire us. And even the things that make us question authority. Like, I mean, there's so many political content or podcasts that are out there that you get to say something completely against, whoever's in power. And that can really make change. And the more we use our voices, the more that we can actually change the whole world.
Yes. I feel a little bit that podcasts are like what internet was at the beginning before it was like so regulated. So it's so free.
Yeah.
And there's actually nobody can quiet you when you're sharing your own thoughts.
Right.
So tell me something. What do you listen to? What what are the topics you listen in podcasts?
On podcasts, there's a lot that I listen to. Lately, I've really been listening to a lot of like marketing and business ones. I'm obsessed with Pat Flynn's Smart Passive Income. I love John Lee Dumas, Entrepreneur on Fire, and his partner Kate Erickson has one. I'm totally blanking on the name now. I think it's like ditch busy, I think is what it's called. And it's about like, not just being busy, it's about actually doing something with your life. And then another one I really, really love is Amy Porterfield. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Amy Porterfield has online marketing made easy. And so she teaches a lot about like how to bring in, like we were talking about before we started, bringing in the right audience and bringing in people that will actually care about what you have to say. So
Nice.
those are I listen to a lot of business ones. Oh, and Chalene Johnson, girl, love me some Chalene Johnson.
What is that about?
She does like a lot of motivational speaking. So like how to have confidence and be courageous in the moment and be motivated to chase your dreams so you can catch them. So that kind of stuff. I love those kinds of things that inspire you to go towards the extra mile and try to do something else, try to do something more.
I wonder if men actually listen to this kind of content, because I know that women, we're normally looking for this inspiring talks. I wonder if men do the same.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, I know that for Entrepreneur on Fire and Smart Passive Income, a lot of men listen to their podcast episodes. I'm sure that, I could just be guessing. I'm really not sure, but I'm guessing that if, you have a female host, she's probably going to have more female listeners and males are going to have more male. But I like everybody. I like listening to everybody because I love listening to their different perspectives.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think it depends of the topic, not because there are a lot of podcasts. Well, you and me used to listen podcasts with topics, with a specific topics for women maybe, but there are a lot of topics, for example, politics or sports or something like that. And I think men used to hear this kind of podcast more than women's.
Yeah, they should leave us some comments. Like, what are you listening to?
Yeah.
We want to know.
Drop it down below.
Yeah, please. Yes. So can anybody be a podcaster or a blogger? What do you think?
I think so. I mean, to become a blogger or a podcaster, you actually have to decide to do it. And that's something I say to a lot of people. You can't just like, oh, today I'm going to start podcasting. You have to really think about it and decide that you want to do it. When I started blogging, I had a computer and internet access, but I know people that I went to school with, they had borrowed computers and they went to the public library to get their first blogs online. And, you've even, or I don't know if you've heard, but there are some bloggers that even have done it from like their vans or on the road or from their phones. And, for podcasting, technically speaking, you need a computer, you need a microphone, headphones, software to edit and record, and a podcast host. But if you have a phone, sometimes that's all you need. And the editing and recording software can be downloaded for free. I personally use Audacity because I have a PC, but you can use GarageBand for free if you have a Mac. And RSS produced an awesome free guide, and I can actually send it to you guys if you want to put it in the show notes. It teaches how to start a podcast completely for free, and it tells you everything you need to know, like from equipment to hosting to do you need a website and all this stuff. And it's just an awesome guide. I may or may not have helped write it. And I just basically, though, what I learned in helping with some of that content that I may or may not have written, I absolutely think anyone can do this. And if I can do it, and I've been producing digital content for more than a decade, absolutely anyone can do it.
So if you want, you can do it, but you need to be brave too.
Yes, or as they sometimes say, do it while you're scared. I mean, there's Ruth Sukup. She's one of my favorite bloggers that I read, and she wrote this awesome book called Do It Scared. And it's all about, like, even if you're scared, do it anyway, because it won't change whether or not you're scared to do it, but it will change the impact you have if you actually try. Because you'll wake up one day more scared that you didn't try it. So you might as well just try it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing right now.
See, Jenny, you got this one, girl.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Ashley, digging into in your professional life on RSS, which topics generate more traffic? What are people listening to these days?
I think on our website for RSS, what's generating the most traffic for us is how to start a podcast and create a podcast RSS feed. But as far as what other people are listening to these days, in terms of podcasts anyway, crime podcasts, I can't believe how popular they are. I mean,
why do people like to listen to this? I don't
I
understand.
think this is so bad. I think it's because we all have a secret inside of us of being a little
dark
bit
secret.
yes, we have a sinister side, everybody does. And so I think the fact that these crime podcasts talk about how to get away with things, it's like, ooh, could I ever do that? No. No, I couldn't do it, but I can listen and live vicariously through someone else.
Yeah, even in Spanish, there are a lot of podcasts, famous podcasts, that are talking about crime on serial. How do you say? Asesinos
Serial
seriales?
killers.
Yeah,
Killers.
yeah, and are famous. That's true.
It's crazy. I mean, I was looking the other day on the Apple Podcasts, like, you know how every day they list their new top 100 episodes, and so many of them were about crime, true crime, or how to get away with murder. I mean, that's a show, but yeah, just, I mean, I can't believe how many people want to talk about that. And then the other thing that's really popular right now, at least in the States, I don't know about other places, but in the United States, political and news podcasts are getting a lot of attention. I mean, everybody's talking about you know, the Capitol riots or Black Lives Matter, or, you know, money and the presidency, and it's, I won't discuss any of that, but it's just, that's what's driving so much traffic these days. And so it's interesting how people are trying to get their news as fast as they can. And so those are the podcasts that just keep rising to the top.
Okay.
That's interesting. I wonder if that's actually going to make a change in, you know, with the new president in the States, if this is going to help like a little bit, you know, kind of like blow off some steam by saying what you really think about all the things that happened when Trump was there. And now, I don't know, maybe it could just be like kind of healing, like all of people.
I think when it comes to like podcasting, I think, yes, it's definitely about trying to, so to speak, blow off some steam and tell what you're feeling. But I also think, yes, it could make change, because it's giving people the opportunity to not only discuss what they're thinking, but then they get feedback from their listeners and they're like, let me think about what they said back to me, and maybe I can see a different perspective. Because, you know, so many of us, we keep our ideas to ourselves, but whenever you start going out and finally speaking up and speaking out about what you're thinking, you're finally getting in touch with the either like-minded people or people who are completely against you, but then it opens a conversation, and that's the most important thing. That's the great thing about podcasting is it actually does start a conversation. And whether it's something that is taboo to talk about or something that you need to be careful of, it still opens the conversation. And I think that is just the coolest thing. Like the free movement of ideas, the free exchange of ideas, and being able to just tell how you feel and then get feedback. I love it.
Yeah, you have to be very open, with an open mind, because as you say, there are a lot of people who are in totally agree with you, but maybe no. So
yeah, and you know, the truth is, you may get a lot of people who don't agree with you, and honestly, that's what makes some people scared to go out and open their mouth and say what they want to say on a podcast episode. But I feel like, to some extent, we still have to do it scared, because if we actually care about what we're discussing, then the right people will find you, and the right people will still be there listening as your audience.
Yeah, or at the end, like you said, you might just end up learning something else.
Yeah, you might change your mind completely.
Yeah, and that's pretty interesting to give in that space where you can actually add to what you were thinking before, or maybe change it, because we only are able to do what we know what we know to do. I mean, what we were, the way we were brought up, or the things we have read, but it doesn't mean that our truth is like the whole truth of all the world.
Right.
So
like we only have our little slice of the world, and so we only know about that. And so to open your mind and your, well, I guess, and your heart to more than what you know gives you the chance to actually grow.
Yeah, exactly. Not being scared, sorry, to speak up. So that's, that's pretty amazing. So let's talk about Latin American podcasters. Have you seen them grow this last year? How is that going on with, are they launching their podcast with RSS?
I have actually seen, well, whenever I was helping with some of the reviews for our website, and we were doing a lot of outreach, kind of talking to who was launching. And yes, I saw a lot of Spanish speakers, and even like Italian, and we saw some Spain. And I mean, there were so many different countries in there, but yes, there was definitely a big jump in the number of Latin American podcasters and listeners in the last year. And I'm pretty sure I read that the number of Latin Americans listening to podcasts grew something like 135% in 2019 alone. And this number only grew last year as more Latin Americans started launching podcasts of their own. And earlier this week, I actually saw the top 60 shows hosted by Latin Americans, and it seemed like there was a pretty good mix of both male and female hosted shows. And of course, I'm partial to female hosted shows, but that's, again, that's what I love about podcasting is anyone can start one, regardless of your race, your sex, your sexual preference, your political party, whatever. Anyone can launch to their perfect audience.
That sounds great. I'm glad more people are talking, and especially in Latin American. I think we need to open up our minds and start speaking. Yeah.
Yes. Let's all have a conversation.
I know. Also, I mean, if some people can talk about ghosts, because I used to hear to this podcast until I got scared and I stopped. but it's like it's pretty much interesting. Like it's not that you have to be like the perfect person that knows like absolutely everything about one topic. I mean, just talk about your passion, right? Like, what do you want to talk about these days? And you probably end up like developing your own podcast, and it probably will turn into something greater, no? Because there will be experience.
Yeah. What is the more you learn, the more you can grow, and the more you can see what else you could explore. Because I mean, that's actually one of the greatest ways to get episode ideas is by exploring it. You can learn more about it, and then who knows, that could be like your whole season. Everything you learn could be a new topic.
Yeah. You said earlier that you have your own podcast, right?
Right.
What is it about? You have to talk about this.
Okay, fine.
We want all the insight on this.
Okay, it's called the Bloggy Friends Show, and it's about blogging. It's basically about my life as a blogger, and it gives some ideas and tips on basically how to blog. Ultimately, I want to turn it into an interview show where I actually interview other bloggers. But the idea began because I started calling all of my blogger friends my bloggy friends, and I started writing for GoDaddy. Actually, I was their very first out of house freelance writer. I think I said that correctly. And I was one of their blogging experts. And so I started going to conferences, and I was meeting new people, and I kept calling them my bloggy friends. And so I was like, okay, if I'm ever going to launch a show, I'm going to call it the Bloggy Friends Show, because I want more bloggy friends. And so there's not many episodes up because I've been very busy, but yeah, it's out there. And if you hate it, it was a joke.
You get funny with that, so don't worry. Maybe I'm sure it's so entertaining.
It's all right. It's just me for now. Like I don't have any co-hosts or anything yet, but like I said, I would love to start interviewing people, like to interview Ruth Sukup and all my idols. Like I think that'd be so cool.
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to get to them.
I'll branch out.
Yes.
I'll expand.
So what was like the most difficult thing when you started doing your own blog, your own podcast? Mhm.
Getting out of my own head. I've actually had the domain Bloggy Friends probably about 5 or 6 years, and I kept saying, all right, I'm going to launch it. And then the global pandemic hit and I was stuck at home and I was like, I'm going to do it. Let's do it. So I did it.
Yeah. I think that was the good thing about the pandemic, that you actually got time to do all those things you say you wanted to do and you couldn't, because you had to go to the store, you had to go with friends, family, and so on. So now we have time to do all this.
Going out, what's that?
I know. Did that ever happen?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like instead of cabin fever, we all have COVID fever because we're stuck at home.
I know. Oh.
Yeah. I would just want to like hug people again and hang out.
Yeah. Like not too long ago, I came across this podcast. I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the podcaster. But it's about all the women that had their babies in the lockdown.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And I mean, this never occurred to me. I do have kids, but they're already big.
Yeah.
And I did have, my cousin had her baby when all this started.
Yeah.
And I was like, that is so scary. So, so it's not only receiving a baby and getting used to all the needs of this baby, but this fear of something you don't see.
Yeah.
And having your baby like so little with no vaccines or anything, it's like, wow.
Yeah, one of my girlfriends, she actually she gave birth like right at the height of, when no one really knew what COVID was. Mm-hmm. And she said one of the hardest things for her, it was her second child, and one of the hardest things for her is they wouldn't let her husband in the room. And so she's like, so I'm isolated, I'm giving birth by myself, and then instead of being able to hold my baby, as soon as it came out, the doctor took it and whisked it away to another room. And so she's like, so now I'm just sitting there like, am I ever going to see my baby, or am I just kind of stuck? Wow. So yeah, I can't even imagine what that was like. I mean, I don't have children yet myself, but I really hope all this is cleared up before that happens.
Are you living alone? No.
Oh no, I'm married and I've got a couple little dogs, Bailey's and Kahlua. They're named Bailey's and Kahlua.
So you have company.
Yes, we have company. So, but my husband Jeremy, he works with me here at home, and so we've been together, but it's like, still want to go out and still see people, and so I can't even imagine, like, I mean, thank God I have someone, because like there are so many people who don't have a significant other, and they're so lonely, and it just, wow, this went a direction I didn't expect.
Yeah, like I know, like a lot of people is taking the lockdown like I'll learn how to meditate or yoga or many other skills, but I can't imagine somebody living alone. I mean, it has to be like very hard, even though if you focus on learning. I mean, there's a point where you're like, I need to see people. I need to listen to another voice, right?
Yeah. And I think that's honestly what led to a lot of people launching their podcasts in 2020 is they wanted to speak about how they were feeling and what they were thinking. Yeah. And what's amazing about the community of podcasters is that they can find each other. I mean, I'm in a group on Facebook. It's the podcast movement community, and it's filled with podcasters. And so what's awesome is if you have a question, you go into this group and you just say, hey, I don't know how to edit this episode, or hey, does anyone have an episode idea? And it's amazing how the community, they're all looking to help each other. It's not like, oh, I can't tell you, it's a secret. It's like, how can I help you? And I think that's one of my favorite things about the podcasting community is how many people seem to genuinely care and want to help, instead of like, oh no, we can't talk. You're my competition.
I think those days are over. I mean,
good.
With us, it's like we've been like 10 years sharing a lot of tips and connecting people. Yeah. And it's not like I'm going to charge you for that because I just connected you like with the greatest person that's going to make you like the richest woman on earth. I mean, that's not the idea of this kind of groups. And I think that little by little, it's starting to spread on different niches.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. We're actually learning to be a real community that supports each other. And that's how it should be. Like, if this starts growing, like, through all the world, I mean, that would be amazing, right?
Yeah, it's of us all coming together, sharing ideas, and let's just all get along.
Yeah, let's just be happy. Yes, of course. Yeah. Yanni, do you have another question?
Yeah, actually, we are almost in the end. So we have a final question for you, Ashley.
Okay.
We usually ask our guests over what do you consider to yourself to be a geek?
What makes you a geek girl?
Yeah.
Okay, I geek out hard over Sherlock Holmes and, well, funnily enough, crime shows and food. Okay, I love food. I could sit and I could watch people talking about cooking or solving crimes for hours on end. I absolutely love both of those subjects, and I think it's in part because I like solving puzzles and I'm obsessed with cooking. I get so excited, whenever you're watching like your Sherlock Holmes or Law and Order or whatever. I want to try to figure out the mystery before the end of the show. And so if I'm also eating a really good meal while I'm watching it, even better. Like, that makes me happy, Ashley. So yeah, I geek out over that. Yeah.
But do you like watch cooking or do you like to cook?
I love to cook. In fact, I was cooking quesadillas right before this started. I love me some food.
That's
What's your favorite dish?
My favorite dish? Oh man, that depends on the mood I'm in. I mean, there are a lot of times where I love me a buffalo chicken salad. But then, I could eat pizza several days a week because you can always put different toppings on it. But I don't know. Lately, it's been a lot of Mexican food. I've been eating a lot. Like, I had tacos earlier this week, and then I had a taco salad, and then I just had quesadillas. There's a trend here.
Yeah. Have you ever been to Mexico?
I want to go. Okay. So I've been to Cancun, but I don't think that counts. Because that was like just the party area. I want to see like the authentic,
Yes.
I mean, we did do, we went to Cozumel about, oh my goodness, 16 years ago after one of the hurricanes hit, and we drove around the island. But other than that, I want to see more stuff. So I want to travel the world.
You have to come to Guadalajara and we have to meet. And we'll have some tequila or mezcal.
Oh, girl. All right, I'm in. I'm flying as soon as COVID's over. I'll get my passport as soon as COVID's over.
You have to. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, there's one little other thing I want to mention about podcasts, and I wish to hear your idea on this. Okay. So I was listening to another podcast, and they were talking about podcasting. And they were saying, like, okay, so don't expect to win money on this because it's actually more about PR. I mean, you're going to connect with a lot of people that's going to take you somewhere else.
Yeah.
But it's not actually the podcast, the one that's going to bring the money in, like, like you're going to cash in just because you made some episodes. What do you think about this?
I think the best way I can answer this question is I think it depends on the goals of the podcaster. Yeah. I think if they put together a business plan that basically monetizes their audience with sponsors, then they can do that. But I do know that there are a lot of podcasters who, they just treat it as PR. They just treat it as a marketing tool. And so what they actually make money on is their business. And then podcasting is their way of getting, finding their ideal customer to bring back to their business. But there are several, podcasters that are out there that are making money on sponsors because they get so many listeners that, they can. And one of the things that I'm really loving watching right now is that there are more networks that are opening up to allow people to connect easier with a sponsor. For instance, RSS, we partnered with Podcorn. And so through our platform, you can connect with Podcorn, who will connect you with sponsors based on, how many listeners you have, and then you can send bids to them. So instead of you having to go and hunt for companies, they're all right there in one sheet that, if you want to pitch them, you can. And I mean, yes, you definitely do need to have a certain number of listeners. I would say a minimum of at least 1,000 downloads before you're trying to pitch sponsors. But that's not to say say that someone who just started can't still find someone to sponsor their show.
Of course. And is RSS just focusing on American market, or is it also like worldwide?
I mean, I think they're trying to move towards worldwide. Right now, I know that we have Italian, English, and Spanish as the supported languages, but I know we're trying to branch out to more. So most of the people that come to us, they speak one of those three languages, and I think part of the reason that we have Italian, English, and Spanish is because our co-founders that started it, that's what they speak. That those are the languages that they speak, and most of the people they know are also in those in those languages. But I definitely see it expanding, and I'm really excited about that because there are so many more voices that need to be heard. And that's one of the reasons I'm so excited that they started doing the freemium model where anyone can start their show for free. It's not until you decide to upload your second episode that you even have to pay. You don't even have to bring your credit card. But it's an exciting time to be a podcaster.
It is.
Yeah.
That's true.
Plus this pandemic is getting like, I mean, how can I say this? It's like it's historical because people can actually listen how were the people feeling during the pandemic.
Mhm.
Because another time it's not the first one that the world has had, but the other ones we've just seen it through pictures and we heard it or read about it on books. But now it's like you can actually listen how were people living through these days. And I think that for other generations it's going to be like it's going to be very insightful because they're going to learn what they should be doing or not doing because they're going to listen to the way people actually felt,
Yes.
I don't know
I think the other amazing thing about the fact that we can hear what people are going through right now is it tells us we're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
We're listening to real-time accounts of what people are going through, and if we're feeling those same ways, oh my God, I'm not alone.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's awesome.
Yeah, and there's actually people like talking about the new projects they're doing, even though they're being like very careful, or they're trying to do everything online, but still they are still creating, and I think that gives other hope. Like, okay, let's push forward, because the moment you lose like this hope for the future, I think that's when you become lost. So it takes like the rest of the community, the people, to actually inspire others to keep moving forward. I mean, we're going to get through this, definitely.
Yes.
Right? Yanni.
What?
You're too quiet.
Well, in Spanish, I have a lot of things to do, but not in English. I don't know why, but well,
this is historic, isn't it? Because a first time English episode.
Yes,
that's right. This is our first episode in English, so we hope this is not the only one. We are working with the language, so we will have another one maybe. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, so you're gonna be like our lucky
guinea pig.
I was gonna say our lucky geek girl.
Yeah,
that's gonna give us all that good luck to bring in more other talents.
Sending you guys abundant vibes.
Yes, please. Okay, so Ashley, where can our people, our geek girls and geek guys, find you if they want to connect with you?
Well, you can find RSS on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram if you just search rss.com podcasting. And if you're looking for me, just look for famous Ashley Grant. I'll have to tell you guys the story of how that started on another episode. But you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. And by the way, anybody who does want to sign up for an account with RSS, like I had said, you can launch completely for free, and you don't even need a credit card. So you only pay if you want to load a second episode, and then it's just $99 a year or $12.99 a month. And we have discounted plans for students and teachers.
Nice.
Okay,
we'll leave all the information below.
Okay,
so
cool.
If you can share with us, and we'll just leave everything there so they could just click and go to
on the description.
Yes.
And
So you want to add something else, Yanni?
No, I just have to say thank you, Ashley, for being here.
Thank you again for having me. I really appreciate it. This was fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. And I'm still wondering, why do people like crime podcasts? I mean, I don't know. It's too scary.
Well,
Well, some of them are scary, yeah. But some of them are okay. Some of them are kind of funny because it's like, wow, what an idiot. Like, no wonder they get caught.
No, but the scary part is that most of the people are learning how to do this.
No, I don't want to think about that. No.
See, that's what
Okay, we need to turn them all off. No, I'm just
yeah,
kidding.
people start talking about other things, please.
Yeah.
please.
Thank
Terrible.
you, Ashley. Thank you so
much,
for-
ladies. I
Thank you for
appreciate
your
it.
time. Yeah, we get fun a lot tonight because it's night now. But well, that's all for this episode. We have a date the next Friday, remember? And please follow the community. We are Geek Girls MX. So please, you can look for our podcast in Spotify and YouTube. And that's all. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Ashley. Thank you, Vera. Thank you, everyone.
everybody.
Bye.
Oh, you have to say something in Spanish, Ashley.
¿Dónde está el baño?
That's important.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, that one you
Especially
have
after enough tequila.
Okay.
Okay.
Gracias, chicas.
Thank you. See
Nos
you.
vemos.
Girls, bunch of girls, Geek Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls. Geek Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls. Geek Girls MX. We're a bunch of girls, and we fucking rock.